A busy afternoon of developments as far as those talks around Brexit and the trading arrangement with Northern Ireland are concerned. As you can see on the screen there, a deal has been done, according to our political editor, Chris Mason. Geeta is in Windsor, where those talks are taking place. She's got all the latest developments. Geeta, over to you.
Thanks very much, Ben. Yes, we know that Rishi Sunak and Ursula von der Leyen have been in the hotel behind us for some time. We understand a bit of a working lunch, and they're going to be having a press conference. We know that, yes, Chris Mason heard from a government spokesperson saying that the deal had been done. Jess Parker also hearing from sources in the EU that a deal has been done. Rishi Sunak has tweeted saying there's going to be a news conference. We think that's going to be in the next hour or so. Keep watching, and we'll bring it to you live as soon as we can. We know that the leaders will have to leave here. It's not going to be at this location. It's going to be at one close by, also in Windsor. Will they name the agreement the Windsor Agreement? That was a speculation over the weekend, but we don't know any of the detail or the contents as yet. They will unveil it. And the theatre and the optics of all this are going to be very, very important, because Rishi Sunak wants to be able to say he has solved a difficult question that was initially posed by Brexit. Boris Johnson, of course, said that he had an oven-ready deal, but of course it in fact led to a number of difficulties, including the suspension of power sharing in Northern Ireland. Let's discuss this a little bit more. Professor of British and Irish Politics at University of Liverpool is John Tong. Thank you for your time. There's been a lot of speculation over the weekend and today about what's in this deal. What do you make of what you've seen and heard so far? Do you think it is going to make a really big difference?
Yes, this is a huge breakthrough for Rishi Sunak. This is not the old oven-ready protocol that we knew of old. There's some very fresh ingredients in this. It's quite clear that the European Union has moved substantially. There are substantial changes to the original deal in terms of state aid for Northern Ireland, in terms of the volume of checks on goods going across the Irish Sea border between Great Britain and Northern Ireland only. So in many ways, Rishi Sunak can present this as a triumph. And of course, the fact that the leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, has said that he will support the deal at Westminster means that it can sail through Westminster. The things that we need to watch out for now are whether any European Research Group MPs on the Conservative side rebel. It doesn't look that way. Remember, some of the former luminaries in that group are now Northern Ireland ministers. And of course, it has to pass the 7 tests set by the DUP. Otherwise, this deal won't lead to a restoration of devolved power sharing in Northern Ireland.
We're just seeing some pictures of the two leaders together. We are expecting them to emerge and give a press conference a little bit later today. I mean, obviously, the government will want to present this as a triumph, as a victory. Critics of Brexit, though, will say Rishi Sunak was a Brexiteer. He's only fixing a problem that they caused in the first place.
Well, this was a problem that needed to be fixed. It had bedeviled relations post-Brexit between the United Kingdom and the European Union, to the point where the British government, of course, introduced that protocol bill, which Boris Johnson now supports, which undid Boris Johnson's own handiwork in signing the original protocol deal. This substantially modifies it. It still has a border in the Irish Sea. There will still be checks on goods going between one part of the United Kingdom to another, i.e. from Great Britain to Northern Ireland, but only in respect of those goods that will then enter the EU single market. So there's substantial compromise there. And I think that really was the aim of the exercise. I think that Rishi Sunak has probably got most of his party on side. We've heard favourable noises from most of his backbenchers so far in respect to the deal, insofar as we know it. But the DUP will reserve its position. It will want to examine the small print of this deal. So perhaps the champagne should be kept on ice for now.
And in terms of the actual trade changes, is there a degree of trust on the part of the EU if we're seeing these two different lanes, as has been described? Because obviously that border is an important one into the EU.
Yeah, the big breakthrough came a few weeks ago when the UK and the European Union clinched a data sharing deal. That allows them to jointly monitor trade going between Great Britain and Northern Ireland, so they can both check to make sure that the EU single market is not being breached, that goods going between Great Britain and Northern Ireland are not secretly going into the EU single market. because the European Union still wants to check those goods. So in effect, those green and red channels, which were written into the protocol bill that was originally introduced by Liz Truss when she was Foreign Secretary, those green and red channels have, to the surprise of some, been kept in place. That is what the EU has now signed up to. So we can probably get away from all these arguments about chill meats not being allowed in between Great Britain and Northern Ireland, or seed potatoes. It should make Great Britain to Northern Ireland trade relatively seamless. That will allow the DUP to perhaps present to its own supporters that they've helped protect the integrity of the UK internal market. But that's really now where the focus will lie. Can they sell the deal? Because we need the devolved power sharing institutions back in Northern Ireland. But from a prime ministerial point of view and from a European point of view, European Union point of view, there'll be an awful lot of satisfaction today.
Professor John Tonge, thank you very much indeed.